Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. This is a new kind of experimental version of Sleep With Me we've never done before. So welcome. These are just bedtime stories from our podcast, Sleep With Me. And to make them feel fresh, these ones are from a couple years ago. So if you're a regular listener, you might get a refresh. And if you're new, these are just bedtime stories from a show called Sleep With Me. They're strange, they're meandering, they're a little bit different. And all this is made possible by listeners like you, regular listeners like you. And so I just want to let you know that's how we're able to put the show out. And so if you are a fan of Sleep With Me, you listen to it on a regular basis, please consider supporting the show. You get ad-free episodes, you get ad-free story-only episodes, tons of other cool stuff at Sleep With Me Plus. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. But if you're in a position and you have some money every month, or you say, hey, maybe I don't watch that streaming service, I'd rather give it to a podcast, think about your favorite podcast. It doesn't have to be Sleep With Me, and support that podcast. If it is Sleep With Me, I consider supporting the show would be great. But if it isn't, or there's a podcast you listen to way more, brings you a lot of value during the day, please support that podcast. Podcasting is going through a different time right now, and your favorite podcast, the one you get the most out of, could use your support the most. So consider supporting it however they request support. Just check it out, like listen to the show or check out their website, or consider supporting Sleep With Me. If Sleep With Me, you say, oh no, Sleep With Me is the one I listen to the most, sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody out there. It's so good to be here near your ears, as a wise neighbor of mine once said, who will be talking to you later on this episode. So good to be here with you. So it's time for, it's so good to get mixed up and go off topic, because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. This is a quick message here. If you get a lot out of Sleep With Me, if you're a regular listener, you like these new things we're trying out, like the story-only version of the show. If you're new, don't worry about any of this. But if you're a regular listener of Sleep With Me, or you're a regular listener of any podcast, if you have a favorite podcast and it's not Sleep With Me, that's totally cool. If you have podcasts you listen to way more, or you get way more value out of, I totally understand that. Consider supporting that podcast. Podcasting as an industry is kind of going through a weird phase right now. Direct support from listeners is going to be, it seems like it's going to be the future of most shows. And so consider supporting the podcast you really love. And you could do that. You could find out, you could listen to the show and see how they ask to be supported, or reach out to them and say, hey, how can I support you? Or if you can't afford, a few dollars a month, you say, hey, how else can I support you? But if Sleep With Me is the one, Sleep With Me Plus is the best way to support Sleep With Me. Sign up for Sleep With Me Plus. Not only you get an unbelievably sweet, different ways to listen to the show, but it's a huge help for us to be able to do stuff like this. But yeah, think about what your favorite podcast is, and then go ahead and go to their website, or if you already know how they like to be supported, support that show. Thanks and good night. All right, everybody, this is Scoots here, and this is my neighbor. This is a vacation I took. We have a guest coming up, my neighbor Ray. And Ray Perkins is a neighbor of mine. You may have heard of these episodes before, but this may be your first time. Ray is probably the calmest, most engaged and generous of heart, spirit, and mind person I've ever met. He's so well-adjusted. Chiropractors call him just to look at him. And he says, it's not my back, it's my backbone or something. I don't even know. He's got a saying for everything. But he's just an amazing person. He does have a pretty intense love of going to theme parks and commenting on it and making these trip reports. So he comes on the podcast a few times a year to share his trip reports with all of you. Now, I'll be honest, this is his fourth day on a trip we made at the end of 2019. And we had held off on recording. We recorded a couple, and then we held off. So we're recording this almost a year after the trip, or more than a year after our trip. And I don't know who's going to be listening, if this will be a release in the main podcast feed or in the Patreon feed, because I don't know when the next time Ray's going to be able to travel. But hopefully, when you're hearing this, it'll be like a little bit different. But either way, you get to travel through Ray's eyes. And he does love to comment on, when I'm on vacation, I like to drink a lot of soda, which, it's my vacation. I drink a lot of soda. And so he keeps track of, like, when I drink soda, when I go to the bathroom. He is a grandparental type figure for me. And when we last left off, this is the middle of the day, and we were going to catch a bus. So we're at the Walt Disney World. And, I'll let Ray, here's Ray Perkins, everybody. Hello, everybody. This is your friend Ray, your neighbor Ray. Oh, boy, is it good to be in your ears here. Thank you, Scooter. We call him the pod boy, or little Andy around here, these parts, because that's who he'll always be to me. Even though I met him when he wasn't little Andy. Once I found out people called him, well, no one calls him little Andy but me and some of the listeners. Thank you, listeners, for calling him little Andy. But I call him the pod boy, and he's a neighbor of mine twice over because he moved. I said, well, that's time for a change for Ray as well. I'm going to have a move. I used to live in the apartment building next to his. Now, I lived in an apartment building. Now, a little bit different of an apartment building built on the east side of Alameda. No, the west Alameda. No, was where we lived originally. And so I lived in one of these apartment buildings they probably put up. There used to be a big naval base there, closed down in the 90s. But they probably built a lot of housing. Now, small apartments, I mean, not just the apartment size, but the building size. Not super glamorous on the outside, but, my home is on the inside. So I lived in an apartment building that was just a one story. Or was it 2 stories? Now I can't even remember. Oh, boy. But Scooter lived in a house that had been converted to apartments over the year, like a long time ago, probably in the 60s to the 70s. So he lived in something where you'd look at it and you'd say, oh, like, if you don't live in the Bay Area, you'd say, well, that looks like a pleasant enough house, probably a few bedrooms, but really there's 4 apartments in there. And then, it fit for there was like a number of people that lived there. And I met him when he would go down his driveway with his furrowed brow. And I would say, who's that furrowed brow? Just like Madonna sang, who's that girl? I said, who's that furrowed-browed boy walking by me, trying to pretend like he didn't see me, or pretending he was on the phone? Not that I hold this against him. I don't. But he would, he would nod to me and say, anyway, what did you say? And one time his phone rang while he was pretending to be on a call. But that just made me love him more. And we became friends eventually. You chip away at the ice, and eventually you find that it's not a super soldier down there. It is a winter soldier. It used to being frozen on the inside. But also a little bit of, to make this connected to our content, a little bit of a Peter Pan in there. And I said, fly like Tinkerbell. Peter Pan, I'm going to teach you how to fly like Tinkerbell. Your friend Ray will. I can only imagine if I had said that to him, what he would look at me like. And he'd say, okay, excuse me, I got to use I have a meeting. This was before Zoom, though, so he couldn't say, I got to get on a Zoom. But we're talking now about a trip we made to Walt Disney World and Universal Studios. And I could see, how people may say, oh, boy, that is, oh, boy, do we budget. Scooter is like, this is his area of expertise, is saving money on travel. And there's nothing he loves more than booking hotels and then rebooking hotels up until last minute. As a matter of fact, even on this trip, I think And he even said if I could do it again, Ray, I would have rebooked one more time maybe, but if there was deals. So he just knows how to do it. It doesn't always work out perfect, but this trip worked out quite well, and we were lucky to do it. So all things in moderation, I understand. Now, I've lived a full life, so for me, this is what I want to be doing. And Scooter also likes me to say that, yes, this is a bit of excess, but we only do it occasionally. Though when you hear this, you say, oh, it sounds like you do it all the time. And I mean, if I had my way, I don't think I would do it all the time, but I might want to do it once or twice a year, go to amusement parks even a little bit more. But I live a simple life beyond that, and I plan for it, and it's not for everybody. Just like this podcast or your friend Ray is not for everybody. Going to these theme parks is not for everybody. And everybody's entitled to the opinion about things. And actually, some opinions can be true at the same time. I really believe that. I'm reading the book Team Rodin right now, and I'm really enjoying it. And it has strong feelings about the Disney Corporation, that some of which I share, but I still say, well, I share them. I'm not a perfect person. I'm a complicated man, even though I'm simple. Okay, so who am I? Who, what, where, when, how, right? Why? Who, what, where, when, how, why? Who? I'm Scooter's neighbor, Ray. We covered that. Who, what? This is our trip to Disney World. I'll have to see what day it was. I think it's the 24th. Yeah, so it's the 24th in the afternoon or the early evening. I do not have a time on here because Scooter's the one who takes the notes, and if you've seen Scooter's notes, you say, okay, that's what makes this more fun because this is a year ago. And we had spent the morning at one of the theme parks, the Epcot Center. And, it's Christmas Eve. Instead of going back to the hotel, we said, why don't we so Scooter has this very fond memory not of this trip, but with his daughter, Sophia, and him, they decided one time on one of the trips to do 4 parks in one day. And for Scooter, that's still a highlight. So I don't know how many parks we did, but this would have only been our second park. So we had been at Epcot Center in the morning. Then we left Epcot Center, and we went for a walk. We were going to try to take the Disney Skyliner thing, the Disney gondola, the Skyliner. But it was not working. So we said, well, let's go over to the beach club. Let's look at the, what do you call it thing? The holiday decorations. They had a gingerbread carousel. And let's take a little break. We'll drink some soda. We'll have a snacky poo. And then we'll decide, what should we do? And we decided, let's go to another theme park. And so we decided we would go to Animal Kingdom. So we went and we walked to the bus to get the bus to the Animal Kingdom. And Scooter, when you travel with Scooter, it teaches you a form of patience and hurry. Like his thing, and he jokes about it, but it's true. It's like hurry up and have fun is his motto, which is not for everybody. But so he usually rushes to the bus because he doesn't like to miss the bus. But I think we still had to wait for the bus, and then we went to the Animal Kingdom, which is kind of, if you've never been there, it is a combination of a theme park, like an animal-themed theme park, Animal Kingdom. It's not really a zoo, though people say, well, it's kind of like a zoo. It has some animals in it, but other than that, you'd say, yeah, wouldn't call it a zoo. Now, they do have a couple of zoo-like trails, so you got me here. And I forgot what this trail is called. I called it the Gorilla Trail, but I think it's called the Pagani Forest Expedition. And I can remember this because Scooter's daughter did not want to go, so we were going to go on they have a safari ride as well. And I'm looking at this, and we must have had some fast passes. So that's why we went to the Animal Kingdom, is because we had fast passes in the evening. And so that would be the only reason. So that makes sense. Scooter did not note that in his notes, but now I'm remembering. So we didn't take it. Now, this is your friend Ray just interjecting here. Normally, I would say go back to your hotel and take a break. Don't do 2 parks back to back unless you're going to call it early, which stay tuned. Because some of the reasons to call it early, like to take a break, is one, the parks get very busy. The parks are probably the busiest between like 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. And, in Florida, at certain times of the day, you just don't want to be there at those times of the day anyway. Up until 5 or 6, it's getting warmer and warmer. But this was the winter time. So the weather was pleasant, but it was Christmas Eve. So I think there was a sense of like lack, because it gets very busy at these parks. So you can't really get a lot done. And because Scooter and I have experience and we have a working relationship with this, so you kind of ease your way around. Also, at the time I'm recording this, I'm just realizing that this Fast Pass could be a thing of the past. Disney doesn't offer it anymore currently, and there's all sorts of rumors that they're going to add a paid Fast Pass like they have at Disneyland, which I've never used before. Or they'll offer some sort of other thing. But FastPass meant you, would go on the website. Now, Scooter would handle this as well because it's kind of like getting a deal. And I think you had to do it 3 months ahead of time or 90 days. That's 3 months. So, yeah. Or 60 days. I don't know which one. But you would have to do it at midnight or whatever time they started, because if you didn't do that, you couldn't get on this one ride we wanted to go on, which I'll tell you about in a minute here. And Scooter, now this, again, they may not exist anymore. Scooter, there's a man called Len Testa who has a site called Touring Plans and an app called Lines, and he optimizes everything with math to make your whites and lines less. Now, Len Testa has said, I'm definitely not even paraphrasing, but my memory serves is that you could use his applications and his math and all that stuff to say, well, this is the optimal time to get a Fast Pass. And that is optimized for waiting in line and making your day efficient. But Scooter also he's like the emotional Len Testa. We love Len Testa, so this is not to take anything away. But Scooter has an emotional version. So I think on what Len Testa site it says, well, you should get these Fast Passes. They're usually around 10, 11, or 12. But Scooter's theory, and I would ascribe to it if they still had Fast Passes, was no. Trust me, Ray. He walked me through this, and it took her 2 or 3 times. Ray, we always get to the park when it opens. When you get to the park when it opens, you could get in on 1 or 2 of the rides with long lines most of the time without waiting. And even if you can't get on your first choice, you could usually get on your second or third choice, and you can get a lot done when you get there, when the park opens, before the park opens. And Scooter said, and then if you use a Lens plan, then, yeah, you would get to go on some big ticket rides when the park's more busy, like 10, 11, 12. And you would optimize your morning up until 2 p.m., in the park. But Scooter and I, we take breaks. And we're big believers in taking a break, go back to your hotel, take a nap, those kind of things. But so, where was I? So Scooter has it, and he doesn't, we just shared on this podcast here, and I guess it doesn't really matter anymore, but it guides this afternoon we're having right now, is that Scooter makes his in the evening, or the late afternoon, from 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, somewhere between, he says, when you be waking up from your nap, then you take another hour. So I think the ideal time for Scooter would be between 5 and 6, 6 and 7, and 7 and 8. If he could pick, you usually get 3 Fast Passes. And Scooter's theory is an emotional theory. He says that way, when you go back in the evening, you got something to look forward to, because usually the lines have matured and all the the wait times for all the rides will not be the peak wait times, but there'll still be pretty long lines for the park, especially over holiday season. And Scooter factors in, his daughter was 12 at the time, but still, he said, well, it's easier if you say, don't worry, we'll get to go on these 3 rides here no matter what. So unless the ride is not working. And in between that, we could kind of see what the wait times are for other attractions. So that's just Scooter's theory. So we did go on this jungle expedition trail, and I remember we saw a lot of good gorillas there. And I think we kind of got separated a little bit. Now, you can't get, because Scooter sometimes, he doesn't like anything zoo related, even this. So he was more trying to focus on, the architecture and things. Now, there's the aviary. Scooter's fine with the aviaries. It's just something, he says it's like in his limbic system. He says it's not conscious, that he just doesn't feel comfortable in zoos. But this does, for Scooter's thing, it does have a lot of lush landscaping. The gorillas there look like they were pretty happy. I think there was even some tigers, but that could have been another thing. And just cool. There's one, they have these 2 hikes. I was going to say, his daughter was like, you got to be kidding me. I don't want to be walking. I've walked all day. I don't want to go walking to look at animals. But Scooter put his foot down there. So we did that. Then we had a fast pass for the safari ride. And that's a nice little ride there. I don't have a lot of description of it now. We did see some good giraffes. I think we went on this trip more than once. And we enjoyed that. Now, we'd had some sodas. So then as soon as the safari was over, Scooter needed a restroom. Now, the problem is this part of the animal kingdom, you're at the back of the park, and Scooter did not know where the bathroom was. And there was like some debate of what we were going to do next. And Scooter said, holy moly, I got to go. Like where he was like, see you all later. And he went to some place where he thought a bathroom would be, and it wasn't there. Or else it was closed. And then the next bathroom was at a place that was very, very, this park was busy because it was Christmas Eve. Everybody wanted to get the money's worth, But so eventually we reconvened outside of Venture the Lion King show. We didn't go to the Lion King show, but there's a restroom nearby there, and there's also a walkway to Pandora. And this is an underrated thing me and Scooter like. Now, it was a little bit busy. They're also building like the Disney Club 33 there. So you got to pass by that building that they were working on. At the time, I don't think it was open. But between the Lion King and then the Club 33, there's a restroom, but you go along a faux river for a while. Not a mile, maybe a quarter mile. I don't even know, maybe an eighth of a mile. But it's a very fun walk, like almost walking. There's a lot of lush things. There's sound effects, there's music. And at some point, it transitions into the Pandora Avatar type music. And it was still sunny, I think, when we this was around sunset. So this must have been 6 o'clock there. And then we had a fast pass for the Avatar Flight of Passage, which is Scooter's mother's favorite ride, I think. And this ride is very popular. Holy moly. I think we talked about it in another show. The one time we went on it at opening, it was quite a to-do. And so Scooter prefers to just try to get a fast pass for this. So I don't know what we're going to do in the future, because Scooter's thing is it's really the ride is so popular that it's hard enough to get there to the park early enough to be at a good place in line to get to the front of the line where you're not waiting, though it is possible. But it was a fun ride. It was a nice little ride there. You fly on the back of a banshee, And it's quite enjoyable. But I don't know if it was even as enjoyable as our dinner. And this is Scooter's daughter's, one of her favorite places to eat. Scooter also and I also enjoy it. I think it's called the Zatui Cuisine. I don't know what it's called. Zatui Canteen or something. And it has a kind of Pandorian style food, they say. And they have outdoor eating and indoor eating. They also have a drink stand nearby where Scooter's daughter gets some sort of fruit slushy boba tea that she really likes. And it was like they have these cheeseburger pods with the kids' meal. I highly recommend it. We also mobile ordered. And that was flawless, I got to tell you. I remember this like it was yesterday. Because, some places like excel at this mobile orders, and other places, even though they've had it for over a year or more, when we were there, they act like it's a surprise. And Scooter actually had some high temperatures at another point in our trip with that. But this one, you went right in. They said, "Oh yeah, we're working on it," and it was a nice, clear area, no stress. And we got our food. Scooter's daughter got a drink. I think we ate inside, though sometimes we eat outside. I remember eating there with Scooter's parents one time. And you get chips, and there's noodle bowls. So if you like a noodle or rice bowl, that's what the adults got. And then we also had a first holiday dessert that was successful that Scooter wanted to try, which was a peppermint mousse with kind of like a crumbly Oreo chocolate cookie base. And that was... nice. And by the time we had done, it was getting, what does that say? I'll have to look at that. I'm not even sure what's Scooter's writing is always, but so what do? We went, we ate there, then the sunset, and then Pandora, it has like kind of like a black light, glow in the dark thing. So we walked around Pandora. Oh, the dessert was good. It was pretty good. And then we walked around Pandora there and looked at all the light up stuff. And then we walked across the park. And now it was getting very busy because it was Christmas Eve. Everybody wanted to be in a theme park. So these are the ones, now I guess I wouldn't go my first time when it's busy. And some people say I'll never go when it's busy, but we like it when it's busy. I don't know, there's something about the buzz of people. It could push your nerves, but it could also be quite fun. So we walked over, we were checking, we were using the Lines app and saying, okay, the line for dinosaur is not bad. And we also had a fast pass for Adventure Everest or something next. So we went on Dinosaur, and Scooter put something lights, exclamation, deer dawn. I don't know what it says, but I think what he said is like, so we walked on Dinosaur, we went on that ride. That's a fun ride. I'll say it, it's underrated. With us, we like going on that ride. And it's always thrilling. It just feels fun. And it's a bit like the Indiana Jones ride in California, but a little bit different. But Scooter's put something about the lights, and I think what he's saying is that they did a really good job with the lights in these sections of the park. The holiday lights. Then we went on Expedition Everest. That's what it's called. And we went on that once with a fast pass and then once again with single rider. And I think Scooter was a little bit pooped out because he was like, I don't want to go on it again. But we said, come on, Scooter, get it together. We're going on the ride again. Because even the single rider line had a line, but maybe 30 minutes or something. Then we decided to go because the park was very busy. It was getting close to closing time. And that's another thing with Scooter. He doesn't like to leave at closing time because then he says he says it drains me, Ray. The this collective exhaustion, and maybe you have to wait at the bus stop and we get on a second bus and everybody's exiting at once. And I believe him. I say, well, but don't you want to see the fire? They don't have fireworks there. They used to have a river show. They don't have the river show. I never saw the river show, so I'm a little bit miffed at myself. And then we walked to the wrong bus stop, which we recovered from. I don't know how we did that we went to the wrong bus stop. Scooter must have just been walking too fast. Then we got a bus home. And we weren't really ready to give up because it was Christmas Eve. And I think it was early. So I'm talking like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So we walked around the hotel lobby and just looked at that. I think, this would have been the next day. Maybe they had some cookies or something. But then we went to the arcade. We played a couple of games at the arcade. We looked around the gift shop. And we were staying at the Port Orleans. I think Scooter's daughter probably wanted to go to the pool, but I think the pool probably closed at like 8 o'clock because I remember a couple close calls. Then, let's see, we had, we walked around. Oh, then we got some hot cocoa. And we had hot cocoa. We watched some Christmas specials on the TV, which was nice. Then we decorated our hotel room with lights. Then again, and I think this was more driven by the youngster, then we walked by the pool. But Scooter didn't, I don't know if plus it's cold in the evenings in Florida. Then we all took turns taking showers while we were watching more holiday specials. Then we all went to bed, and believe it or not, Santa Claus came on that adventure. I mean, all the way from wherever. He found our hotel room for Scooter's daughter, and it was great. I mean, what a trip. Now, the next day was Christmas, and we had, now Scooter's daughter's Catholic. Scooter's, has a different kind of belief system, but Scooter's daughter wanted to go to Catholic church. And they're having a Catholic mass in the contemporary, what do you call it there, the convention center. And so we said, yeah, let's just not go to the park. Like, we'll worry about going to a park if we want to go to a park. Because we had passes, that you could go if we had paid, And we said, why don't we sleep in because we've been getting up so early. So we slept until around 9:15, Scooter put here. And then Santa had come, so it was very exciting. We were drinking coffee, and we opened some gifts, and then Scooter even had a soda at 10:10 a.m. He put it here, 10:10 a.m. soda. And then we took a lift to the Contemporary Resort there, which we could have gone to the Magic Kingdom and then taken the lift there, but I don't know. Scooter wasn't in charge of that planning. Then we walked around, then we went to the Catholic Mass, and it was very nice. Then we walked around the lobby of the Contemporary. Just a little bit. Oh boy, this was one of the greatest days I've ever had in a theme park history. I forgot about this. Oh my gosh. This was a day I'll treasure forever. I'm sorry I forgot about it till now. Probably one of my favorite, and this is something you could do when it's not Christmas and you don't want to go to a theme park if you're staying at these Disney resorts there. But oh boy, what a trip there. So we walked around the Contemporary lobby because they had, what do you call it? They had their own gingerbread display. Scooter had his refillable unlimited sodas. There was also a hot cocoa, cold slushy Scooter's daughter got. We also bought some sugar cookies and some coffee. And we just enjoyed it. And it was a really nice day. Then we went out the back of the Contemporary Resort there. And from there, you could take a boat over to the wilderness. They have campgrounds, but they also have a wilderness lodge. And we walked around. We took the boats to the Wilderness Lodge, and oh boy, did we enjoy that. So they had free cookies there for Christmas. So we took a boat there, and this was free transportation. It was just a nice, pleasant boat ride. You get on the boat, you say happy holidays. You feel like you're on an adventure. Then you go into this Wilderness Lodge, which is over the top, kind of the U.S. Forest Service type hotel style. Very fancy. Never stayed there. I would like to stay there one day. And we walked around the pool, then we walked around the lobby, looked at the tree, ate some cookies, walked up to the top of the lobby, to the top floor because it's a big open lobby to look down. Sat in some rocking chairs. Scooter, of course, used the restroom probably multiple times. Scooter's daughter did get these frozen bits for her magic band that fell off, which was a little bit of a disappointment for her. But yeah, let's see. We said we had some more soda here. Bathroom, lobby, tree, gingerbread, and then something I can't read. Up to the third and fourth floor. Then we went out on, they had a little roof area, free cookies. Oh, there's like fake streams. We walked around there. We went on a pool bog walk. Oh, then Scooter even went to get a boat again to the Magic Kingdom. We took the Mermaid 1. Now, this was according to Scooter at 1:33 p.m., and it must have been 1:30 or something because that time is a little bit off. So we went to the Magic Kingdom. At first, we weren't even going to stay there. I don't know what but we had we had paid for the free popcorn refills or whatever, $1 to refill your popcorn bucket. So I'm guessing maybe we got there at 1 or 3:30 and we stayed past 2 at the Magic Kingdom. Now, the Magic Kingdom at this point is packed for the holidays. It's Christmas. So we got some popcorn, and then one of our people in our party said, you know what, I feel bad that you lost your water bottle. I'm going to go look at Lost and Found at the town hall and find out if they have your lost water bottle. And so then we said, well, there's an Christmas parade about to start or going on. So we went up to the train station to watch it. And the entire train, now, oh boy, this is just a marketing thing that really makes Ray a little bit, my temperature rises. So Disney has this train station overlooks this Main Street, USA. And it's a very good spot to watch a parade. So understandably, they have it roped off for the VIP tours. But they have the whole thing roped off, and they have now and they charge a lot of money for these VIP tours. So I understand the idea of having a private spot with a great view for people that are paying a lot of money. That I do not begrudge anyone. Now, some of the kids that were acting, like they were paying for it, the younger kids, but for them to put it out in the open, to block off the whole train station, and then they had people watching, so people would, of course, try to sneak back there, and they'd say, no, you can't go back there, this is for the VIP only. It just, to me, felt like a very gross thing of like, what do you call that, where you aspirational marketing, where they're showing these people off, having this privilege that no one else could have, to say, well, maybe next time you'll love your, I don't know. It just did not sit right with me at all. Like, if you're going to give these people a private place, give them a private place. And to be honest, from the other side, if you're paying $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 to be escorted around the parks, and you're in a position where you're normally used to paying that, like versus like you'd probably want a private spot with air conditioning and a little bit more privacy versus people that say, well, maybe I'll just, I don't know. I just did not like that at all. And then I even learned more recently that, despite and again, this is a company, everybody's got to do what they got to do, but that the people that work there that are running the tours for them, they only get paid like a minimum wage plus the tips. So it's relying on the people that are already paying a lot of money to tip the people that are giving them good service. And I don't know, that just bothered me too. I said, if you're charging $7,000 and you're only paying, the people should be getting paid $100 to $200 an hour that are conducting the tours, in my opinion. So anyway, that was a little bit of an area of frustration. So we actually moved away because we said, this is ridiculous. So yeah, Magic Kingdom, lost Scooter's water bottle could not be found. Xmas parade, but dealt with VIP BS. Now, it didn't ruin our date or anything. We watched some of the parade. Then we said, okay, let's get out of here again because it's so busy. So then we went to the Polynesian Resort. Again, just to walk around, look at the lobbies, have a relaxing day. We had slept in. So this is 3:04 p.m. here. And now we had been snacking, but at 3:04 we had lunch at the quick service there at the Polynesian called Captain Cook's. And I remember it was very windy, but then we hung out at the beach there. And we even found some hammocks and a swing, and Scooter's daughter built a little sand castle. So it was just a nice, talk about a way to spend the holidays. Then we went to the next resort, which is a Grand Floridian. All of this Scooter would have walked, but of course we took the monorail because, not everybody likes to walk as much as Scooter. There they had a big band playing holiday tunes. I don't know if you ever seen the special with Whoopi Goldberg while she's there while they're making the gingerbread building they have. That's a store. It's a gingerbread house and a store. But oh boy, that's a good one. But we took pictures. Scooter was hamming it up so much that the photographer even got in the picture with Scooter while she was taking it. And we looked at the big tree there. That was nice. Walked around. I think they had free cookies there as well. And then we had some fast passes. So then we were going to Disney Studios. Now, the weather was starting to change, so we went at like 4:30 p.m., Scooter said. That's when we took the bus about, and we did the Toy Story ride. I don't think we had a fast pass for that, but we'll see. I don't know. Because we had a fast pass for Frozen, for Slinky Dog. So we went on the Toy Story ride. That's a fun ride where you would throw rings on something. Then we did Slinky Dog Dash. But while we were waiting, and this again, I guess was a back-to-back VIP issue. So we were waiting. We had a fast pass, so we were almost to get on. And then we were like 2 people on, and they said, warning, the weather's not great, so we might have to stop the ride for a while. And then these VIP people came, and they just got right in front of us in line. And we were like, you got to be kidding. If they close the ride down... It wasn't like we were in line anymore. We were placed to get at, you know what I'm saying. Then but we did get on the ride. That was very fun. Oh boy. Then we walked around Star Wars Land, and we had a lot of fun just watching the stormtroopers and the kids, because the kids were given a time at, the kids were given a hard time to the stormtroopers. It was hilarious. Then we had dinner at some place called Hangar 7 maybe. We had pot roast and chicken, which was very good. It's surprising you get pot roast in a theme park. And then we went to the Frozen sing-along. And that was a great way to spend the holiday because they actually had holiday tunes, and it was a fun show. Oh boy, was it enjoyable. And then we had an 8 p.m. Fast Pass for Star Tours. It was a brand new movie, Scooter put. So I think from, I I don't know. This was 2019, so I don't know if that was the Rise of Skywalker, I guess. So it must have had some things from the Rise of Skywalker. And that was fun. Oh, boy, was that it. That was fun. Oh, boy, this was a hidden gem we didn't even know about. But they have a holiday projection show in the Tower of Fun, or whatever you call it normally, with the 3D projection mapping and lasers, like the old school lasers that you'd see like in Pink Floyd shows, but more advanced, with fog effects and snow, the imitation snow. And this is a show-stopping show. And I think it runs on a loop. I don't know if it runs on a permanent loop, but it has different segments, like a Toy Story segment, a Prep and Landing segment, probably a Olaf Frozen segment. Oh, does that Jingle Jam? Oh, no, that was another thing. Wow, so this just got even better and better. Holy moly, what a day, what a Christmas we had. Scooter, I got to thank you. Scooter, I hope you put this out on the holidays. Please do it in 2021. So 2 years after we had gone together. This is probably a good holiday show. So the holiday show on the Tower Fun was great. And then we said, let's have a snack again. The little ones, always like snacks. It's Christmas. So we got a pretzel and we got an Olaf marshmallow, which I don't know if that was, it just says Olaf marshmallow. I thought we got some sort of drink. Maybe that was like a Olaf it's got to be marshmallow. And a pretzel. Then Scooter, he used the restroom. And then we went, and then they had another show on the Grauman's Theater called Jingle Jangle Bam. And this was another one that Scooter wasn't, he's like, let's just go. But we said, well, it's not that, it wasn't actually that busy, because it's so spread out and such. And so we were able to get a spot, not up close, but like halfway down the boulevard there. And it was a fireworks and 3D projection show with lasers again. And it was so worth it. And we couldn't believe that we just watched the other show over and over again. And then we got to see this show. But it was just really good. It had music, and the projection mapping is just amazing. And so we weren't even done, though. So we watched that show, and then we said, let's just ride. We had fallen in love with these Skyliners. I think we had taken it already. So we said, let's go on the Skyliner, and just for fun. So we took the Skyliner twice. So we took it from... And now it's night, and it's, oh, boy. We just weren't ready to call it an evening. So we took the Skyliner from, plus it was going to be, like everybody's, it's very busy. So we took it from Disney Studios to the Caribbean Beach Resort, and we just enjoyed that ride. Then we got online again, and we took it to Epcot Center. And it was just a nice way to cap off the evening. And then we walked from Epcot Center Skyliner Station to the Boardwalk Hotel. And, it's a nice little walk there. I think Scooter even talked to some of his family on the phone, probably his brother in California. And then we had to call a lift. And because it was Christmas night at our theme park, that was very tough to acquire. I think this was the time Scooter was watching it on his phone, and the person had picked up the thing, but they must have been in a Walgreens, because he said his car, the lift was sitting in a Walgreens parking lot for like 10 or 15 minutes, and Scooter couldn't cancel it because I think it was, he gets stressed about those things. But plus, because it was so busy, he didn't want to get back in the queue. And then finally, I think that person canceled it. But after they left us hanging for like 20 minutes. So it was a long wait there. not exactly an ideal way to end the evening. It's like sitting around like you're tired and waiting for the lift. But we eventually got home and we were in bed at 11:30. Snoozing away. So that was our holiday, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. My Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with Scooter that I'll always hold special in my heart. So I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed it too. Good night. All right, I want to thank everybody who became a patron recently. I want to thank Andrew, Connor, and Vanessa. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Scott, Shane, and Allison. Thank you, thanks, good night. Sharif, Sarah, Jessica, and James. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Felix, G, and Jacqueline. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Martin, Byron, and Sean. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Sydney, Angel, and Colin. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Jessica, Carly, and Max. Thank you, thanks, and good night. And Claire and Donna. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Thanks to everybody who became a patron recently. Assuming because this is a free show because of people that support the show on Patreon or support our sponsors. That's how I'm able to be here for you twice a week. We also, like a huge free way to help the show is just let people know about podcasts in general. Believe it or not, eventually that'll help Sleep With Me. Just introducing to new people to podcasting and showing them how easy it is to sign up for free. You'd be surprised. And you got to do it in a smooth way. Like, really, what's in it for them? You know what's great about podcasts beyond Sleep With Me. Maybe Sleep With Me was your gateway podcast, or maybe it was another one. But just show them, and don't even show. I guess maybe I'm like, should you show them? You could show them on your phone, and then say, "Hey, let me see." Like, you have a different phone than me. Well, here's some great free apps to try out, and then find what they're interested in, and eventually people will find their way to Sleep With Me. You could also share a referral link, sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. And sign up for our referral program for existing podcast listeners. But bringing new people into podcast listening will help everybody that makes a podcast, everybody that enjoys a podcast. And the new people, the person who introduced the podcast, it'll really change their life for the better. So that's it. And here's one more thing I was going to tell you about. Thanks and good night. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots with a tuck you in message here for our bedtime story podcast. We're trying out, and I kind of said this, free way to support Sleep With Me and bedtime stories from Sleep With Me is join our referral program, sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer, REFER. You get rewarded for introducing people to the free version of Sleep With Me, including access to Sleep With Me Plus. But most of all, just think about what your favorite podcast is or one of your favorite podcasts, and then support that podcast. It doesn't have to be Sleep With Me, but just to support your favorite podcast because they could use your support right now. And if you decide, Sleep With Me is actually my favorite podcast, well, wow, I'm blushing, seriously, even though it's imaginary here in this context, and support it at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Or listen to a show you love and see how they want to be supported. Thanks.